excellence in sports entertainment.
Pro wrestling talk from the four corners of parts unknown. This is That Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome to That Wrestling Podcast. The good, bad guys of wrestling podcasts are back. We're talking all things of the week that was in professional wrestling. Another eventful week as we get closer to Clash at the Castle and All Out Weekend. We'll dive into it all after the show. Tradition, it's time for What Are You Wearing?
What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today?
Okay, Joseph, why don't you start us off? You were on the road today. You were at a t-shirt place today, but apparently a purchase was not made that would fit the show.
No, it was not. Yeah, no, they let me down, but it was good to go to the homage stores.
Yeah.
But I'm going with.
Did you say that you were part of the show and they would have pulled out all the wrestling stock for you?
I
down
tried.
to the basement with all the extras? Come on, Joe.
I did, but shockingly, they haven't heard of us.
Weird.
How dare they?
Cut the shit, Joe.
Follow us on YouTube. Anyway, I'm still sticking with the non-black shirts for the summer, and I got my gray AJ Styles phenomenally done shirt. And let's hope that this what are you wearing lasts less than 30 minutes this week. So we're going for that.
Are you sure that's not a black shirt that's just faded a lot from washing?
No, it's brand new. It's a gray and black.
Don't you see gray. It matches his hair? We know it's
no.
Matches your beard too.
But I'm also just agreeing with Joe. It's not black.
It's not black. But my hair still has some black.
It's not black. Your hair is not black.
70-30.
No, it really is like the shirt. There's some gray, white, and black all in there. So it is.
Oh, there's no white yet. Come on, you jerk. Kevin,
that's called salt and pepper.
You're not next, Jason. You're next.
It looks white. I did not go to the homage store, but I am wearing an homage shirt. It's the Shawn Michaels boyhood dream comes true WrestleMania shirt. I placed an order. The turnaround time is pretty good when you're a VIP like I am. And don't let me fool you. VIP just means I spent a lot of money there. So I got my discount codes. I use them. I got a 6-pack of wrestling shirts. You will see those in the future.
I will go next so that way I don't forget that I need to go and do this and a half an hour later say, oh, by the way, I'm wearing, whatever. So I'm wearing my Walter shirt. Walter used to be a wrestler of NXT UK. Yes, used to. Gotcha. His name's Gunther
NXT
now.
UK?
Exactly. It was soon to be a previous brand of WWE Entertainment. The news broke today that NXT UK is going away. It is becoming NXT Europe sometime in 2023. And thus, a number of NXT UK talents were released from their contracts. So sad in that respect, but that's how we were introduced really to Walter and Pete Dunne and Dragunov and some other ones too.
Who was that second one?
His name was Pete Dunne, and he was in NXT Black and Gold.
No idea who that is.
I don't know where he ended up. Nevertheless, he had a good run
Dark?
at the time. No, well, maybe I can't keep track of everybody who's appeared on Dark. So shout out to the NXT UK brand. Kevin, and you'll bring us home.
Yeah, in honor of his return to AEW Wednesday night programming. What was it, 270 some odd days? Kenny's back. I had to go into the closet. First time I've worn this all year because my wife told me, hey, flip your hangers over so you actually see what you wear, right?
And I was like, that's pretty smart.
Oh,
so I'm like,
that is genius. That is absolute genius.
And I noticed I haven't worn it, and it's almost coming up on 3/4 of the year. It's a mix of Transformers mixed with Kenny. It's the Kenny Omegatron shirt, and it's from Pro Wrestling Tees. From a Christmas gift I used a couple years ago from Jay.
Awesome.
Yeah, he is back, and we'll get into that in just a little bit with what his return.
Breaking news! Kevin, hit the sounder. From the That Wrestling Podcast Zoom chat. Yeah, Brian, we can all tell your shirts are on a pile on the floor of the basement. They're all wrinkled every week. Now back to regular scheduled program.
Yes. Wow. You read the
now
chat for
join
once.
TWP already in progress.
Yeah, we all have our things. All right, so let's get into AEW because they had a big show last night. It was the Game of Thrones dragon themed. They had that whole thing going on. A packed show for the most part. But let's talk about the start. A shocker started with Cult of Personality.
No way.
What?
Not exactly breaking news.
Chuck Lorre presents, and then it goes into Cult of Personality.
Couldn't
No
believe
way.
it. Yeah. Punk first calls out Hangman Page to come down, and he doesn't. It was very confusing. Then he ends up addressing Moxley, and this was vintage CM Punk. Lots of digs on Moxley. You're the third best in your group, just like your old group. You'll be the second best John I faced in Chicago. I thought Mox had a nice dig. Well, he's saying that he was the heart and soul, and when Punk replied, he's the dollars and cents, Mox called out that he's only in AEW because he ran out of money. It leads to a huge brawl, and then a second brawl later in the show. I loved how Mox took out Tony Nese, because I rolled my eyes when I saw Tony Nese was coming to the ring. So it's like that. You didn't say anything, Kev? Yeah, I was like, oh, come on.
Like, what?
That was good. That was really what calls out Punk. So
Brian was hoping for Orange Cassidy at that moment. That's how much he was rolling his eyes.
Even better. But nevertheless, it's all leading to Mox versus Punk next week, not at All Out like we all thought. I half joked last week. I'm like, maybe it'll be on Rampage. I was kind of close on that. Shocker. Guys, just I guess your reaction to those segments, maybe a prediction for Wednesday, and kind of what will then it all lead to with All Out. And Jay, you can start since you'll be in attendance at All Out.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they are doing it in Cleveland, but then again, I'm not. CM Punk's last WWE show was in Cleveland. So when he walked out after the 14 Rumble.
Was it the Rumble? Yeah.
CM Punk's first UFC fight was against Mickey Gall in Cleveland. And earlier, well, I guess last calendar year, they were in Cleveland, and that's when they had the MJF stuff. So, like, there's a lot of Punk in Cleveland things. Now, I really feel like this is a mistake. That's a perfect way to score big pay-per-view buys. They probably could have got 600,000 buys out of that because it's two former WWE guys. And unfortunately, we may not get it, but fortunately, if we don't get it, it could mean a pay-per-view main event that doesn't need two ex-WWE guys in it. Now, who's going to be in it? Is it going to be Hangman? I don't know. But what I do know, it's getting kind of cold in my studio.
Hey!
So I don't know who else it could be, but this scarf is really keeping me warm.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but that's why we watch.
Yeah.
What do I always say? I want to be surprised. I don't want spoilers. I don't want to know. I'm not backstage. I'm not trying to be. And like I told that dope today, we're all viewers. The dope on Twitter, not these dopes. We only can say with what they tell us. So we'll find out what happens next Wednesday on Dynamite.
Kev, your reaction. I know you were texting us saying first off how much you were enjoying as I said, the vintage Punk promo.
Yeah, it was good. I think my text was Punk is with the fire emoji, and then I deleted it all because I realized Jay was on it, and then I resent it with Joe.
I actually watched live yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Finally, yeah.
Okay, well, hot damn. We were texting.
Well, Brian texted me solo, which led me to think you guys weren't watching.
I wasn't live.
We should probably put that on our calendars or something.
I really enjoyed it.
Our watch schedule of who can watch when. Yeah.
The little dings and zingers. The one I thought the best one from Punk was when he was like, "You're the third best Eddie I know, and the second best Kingston in the locker room." Like,
yeah, that was a fun one.
Those little ones. The thing, and then Mox comes down, and it's so many like, right in mean mug and walking, but then he got in, and it looked really good. Like they were just. going back and forth. And yeah, later on in the episode, but the stuff with Punk and Hangman was a little odd. I read a few little snippets on like 411 Mania, our site, and different things, like apparently went off the cuff. Allegedly went off the cuff.
Are we being worked?
Right.
I hope so. I hope so, because I want to be surprised. So the only thing that I could think of, and I thought about this during that promo, only thing that can make sense is the match actually takes place next week between Punk and Mox. Hangman interrupts, and somehow it's like a triple threat at All Out.
I mean, that opening segment was a lot of fun, despite that confusion with the Hangman reference and where that was going.
The only thing I didn't like was the second pull apart in the middle of the show. I could have done without that.
Yeah. I think it makes sense in the context of, like, we can't wait for the pay-per-view. We got to do this next week. And like I said, anything to take Tony Nese off my screen, I'm okay with, I guess. But he's fine, whatever. Joe, your impressions on all of this?
I wasn't impressed with Punk's promo. I was not impressed at all. I think, and I should check my notebook here.
Oh, yeah, you got one. Yes.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Notebook for everyone.
Out, this promo reminded me of Scott Steiner's promo on one of the last Nitros when he ripped apart Flair and everybody in WCW and said WWF was better. Punk did the same thing. He took the other, if he's and Punk's a main event guy, he took the other main event guy and made him feel like he was third class. He said the other guys on the other show were better, above and beyond. Yeah. He took another guy who was a fan favorite, who was also on the verge of main event status, and he made him second best to a guy who was main event but has fallen down so far into the match order. He's just there for, in the tag rankings. You've taken your product and you told everybody in front of a live studio audience and the millions watching at home that you are second best. You're saying you're the best of a second-rate promotion. That's what he did. That's what I took out of that promo. Moxley saved it. Moxley saved it with you came back just for money. He saved it with basically everything that he was doing, basically calling him, he was full of it. But Punk trashed. He was trying to make a point, and the point he made was AEW is nowhere close to as good as the other guys.
That's an interesting perspective. I didn't see it that way, but let me ask you this, and thinking about it with what you said, if that's leading to a Punk heel turn of him saying sort of things and basically saying, like, I'm the best and all you guys can't hold a candle to either where you've been or what you're doing now, does that context make it a little better for you?
No,
if that's where it's going.
It makes it seem like Punk is promoting that he's the summer school valedictorian.
None of us get that reference.
What do you mean?
What students
elaborate?
Students go to summer school?
Not ones that want to learn more and up their education.
Either way, it's. I don't think it doesn't help. It doesn't help. Okay. I don't think Punk helped the promotion. Is it going to be a heel turn? We all want him to be heel. But it could be another Cody thing where we want it and it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of summer school people, Joe.
It's interesting.
I'm not making fun of it. It's just a saying, Jason.
It's interesting.
What do you think, Brian? What do you think of the promo?
I love the promo. I don't mind usually on AEW TV, any WWE call outs, I usually roll my eyes. But because this was a personal one, talking about like their personal past, I was fine with it. It wasn't saying like, hey, up north, they do it this way or whatever, right? So I was fine with all of that. And I thought Moxley, his responses were fine. And I liked the brawl. I thought it was really well done. I just go back to what Jay said. I don't see the reason why they're putting this in Cleveland next week versus a pay-per-view 2 weeks later.
Well, Brian, it's to protect the guys in the crowd in Cleveland and in Chicago over the next week. They don't want to ruin the broadcast. So they got to get this match out of the way, because if they don't, They're just going to constantly
All right.
battle and fight. They're going to have to be pulled apart. And then the shows aren't going to happen. They're not going to get the ratings. And then Discovery Turner is going to drop them, and we're not going to have AEW. That's why.
I'm not that.
That's why.
I'm not that Twitter guy that you can pull the wool on me that way. Please.
Wait, if they
we're
don't want to ruin,
friends.
if
Level
they don't
with
want
me.
to ruin the broadcast,
Yeah.
then why do they have JR and Don Callis yelling at each other the whole time during the main event?
Yeah. So I'll listen.
That
I'll
was a
give him the
softball
benefit.
for you, Jason.
I'm excited to see what happens on Wednesday. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not overly optimistic of like what's going to happen Wednesday is going to lead to something better at All Out, because Punk Moxley title unification, that's top notch to me. I'm excited for that. So
Time limit. Watch.
Yeah, there might be a
Okay,
it could be a double
It's gonna be like a
disqualification.
shenanigan like that.
And that all depends
Okay.
on what time that match goes on TV.
Exactly.
If it's 9:40,
could it be an opening match?
You know,
could it be
exactly.
the main event match? They've done it both that way.
it's the big thing here is that none of us have said yet. If this is CM Punk going heel, is he gonna get booed in Chicago?
No.
Yeah, hard to. I can't.
But
see
it could
Did
be
Brett
like
It could lead to
booed
a
in Canada?
50-50 maybe.
exactly like a Brett thing, where he's
Cheered in Chicago, booed everywhere else.
And
Well, you mean like an MJF thing where he's booed everywhere else except
But
for
Long
Long Island?
Right.
Yeah.
So here's what's interesting, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
Brian and I were texting last night because we didn't know Kevin was watching. We were talking about possibilities for a triple threat. MJF's name did not even come to mind. So talk about the ultimate out of sight, out of mind. I did not even think about MJF until later when I looked on the internet and other people were saying that. So if we get it, I think it'll be cool, but
It's just out of nowhere. So yeah,
Right.
Who knows? Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens on Wednesday. Sticking on AEW, Joe sent this story to us on Wednesday about an interview Eric Bischoff did and talked a little bit about Tony Khan, and he had some nice things to say. I saw he talked about it being a great alternative to WWE, but not competition based on revenue generation and market share. But one line in particular, talking about his booking style, grabbed our attention, and Joe can elaborate further.
First of all, Eric Bischoff, thanks for listening. Jason, this is your take. When I first read this, Bischoff says he thinks Tony Khan books like a 14-year-old would. And this is a quote. He's booking, in my opinion, like a 14-year-old would, who would have a lot of toys and things he can play with. But I'm not seeing story. We've seen the wrestling audience or AEW audience call it a story, but it's not. It's an excuse for having a super match or a dream match.
I look at it like this. I don't think he's wrong, but I also look at as a fan going, who doesn't love dream matches? That's fun. That's entertaining. It makes for good in the moment watching. So, will that line of doing things eventually run out if you run out of dream matches? I suppose that's entirely possible. And yeah, I feel like the story's been lacking. I think this summer's been a little bit down because of the injuries. Moxley hasn't had a story. It's been just, hey, who am I beating up? And props to Punk on that line of, I can't touch you or else you're going to bleed on me. That was a good line too.
Yeah, that was good.
That.
I'm surprised he didn't bleed during the brawl.
Yes, that's a shocker. So I feel like this summer, what Bischoff's saying is about like the not having the stories. I tend to agree with them, but then you go back to whatever that was, the winter, the early spring of like Punk MJF. That was an amazing story. So when they do it, they've done it really well, but I think it is lacking as well.
What about you, Jason, since you used your figure line?
I don't think I need to say anything.
Kevin?
I was going to say with the stories, they have a way of, if one is starting like Darby and Brody, right? The coffin, boom, done. What's next, right? That was a great win by Darby. He's just going to go away for a little bit. That's the thing. It's not a continuation of, okay, he defeated such a huge Goliath. Okay, let's just let him go. Let's throw him in a match in a couple weeks. And you know what I mean? That won't mean anything. Like Swerve and Keith Lee. Wow, Private Party. That's the biggest thing that I think no story building with those guys. Let's just throw them in against Private Party. I'm not gonna lie. Outside of last night, I forgot Private Party was even there.
Yeah. I haven't seen them in a long time.
That's the biggest thing is with the building of the, I know FTR is going to do their own thing but it's tricky. I see where he's coming from. I agree. I disagree, but it's hard to invest a lot of time in these stories because they're not really going to last very long.
Well, when you have 175 people on the roster
for 2 hours and
3
live,
hours,
and then 1 hour.
Yeah.
The contracts are starting to expire. Brian's take on, he thinks this is JR's retirement tour. I mean, it's a great take. And when his deal's up, I mean, he probably signed a 4-year deal. They're coming in the beginning of year 4 in October. October 2nd was their first show, first Dynamite. And, we're a month away. So maybe it was a 3-year deal. Maybe JR has a 3-year deal. He has 1 month left. Now, I haven't seen the televised entrances. He's been on for 2 hours. He been on during the women's
entire
matches.
show this past week.
It's, but these contracts are starting to expire. Alan Angels from the Dark Order, they offered him a per appearance deal, and he said no. And that's why he's no longer on the AEW roster. So it's only a matter of time. Hell, the fact that we got Sunny Kiss on TV last week, and then she joined the Douchebusters. I mean, what the hell is that? If that's how to get her on TV, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah.
Who the fuck are the Douchebusters? I don't know. I don't know who those guys are.
I didn't even know Devar was back even in there.
Well, that goes. I guess it ties in a little bit about the Mance Warner discussion of wait, who's this guy? I need to pay attention. Do I need to have things explained to me more? It's where did these guys pop up? They're in the trios tournament. And it's oh, who knew? I'm sorry. I don't watch Dark. I'm sorry.
Are you a Dark Elevation guy? You're just not a Dark guy?
No. And anything Dark. Dark turkey meat at Thanksgiving, Dark YouTube, Dark Elevation. It ain't for me. It's good. It's good for the wrestlers. It's good for them to get their reps and build stories. But yeah, I'm going in blind when these guys come to TV and they're they were 5-0 on Dark in the past 2 months. It's okay, well now I know. So,
but don't you like dark beer?
That's true. Okay, everybody has their. I do love dark beer. Yeah,
I thought so.
Well, thank you. You know me better than myself, buddy. All
right, we're friends.
That's right. Cheers to that. All right, so no, putting a bow on that one. Let's look back at SmackDown. Last week, our 5 count was 5 wrestlers Triple H should bring back into WWE or bring into WWE. Well, I deserve a third of a point, as my number 5 was AJ Francis, aka Top Dollar, 1/3 of Hit Row. All right, so. He, along with the other guys, guy and girl, Ashanti the Adonis, B-Fab, they're back. They re-debut on SmackDown. Guys, your thoughts on the return? And then for me, when they came to the main roster in NXT, it was with Swerve Scott. Obviously, he's doing his thing in AEW. So how do you feel about that? Your expectations, I guess, for those 3 moving forward?
My head's feeling kind of hot from these lights. So I think I need to put a hat on.
And the scarf was making you hot. So yeah, ditch the scarf. Bring out the hat.
I'm glad Hit Row's back. And for the dummies online, they need a leader. AJ Francis, Top Dollar, is that leader.
I hope
they don't need anybody else.
Yeah.
And what's funny? They've been back a week. No Hit Row merchandise on the shop yet. This was from before they got let go.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
I'm a little upset because my bruises finally started to heal, but now Hit Joe is back in my
Hit Joe is back.
So I'm when they came,
forgot about that.
Luckily, it was I got preempted because they were showing Lions preseason football.
Oh,
instead of SmackDown, so I watched it later. And then when I saw they came back, and it's my wife was like, "What?" She's like, "Hit Joe, hit Joe."
I can picture Jess sleeping on the couch and hear
and she heard it.
And she's like,
Let's go.
Leaps up like a wild panther. Just
Her tiny fists were just going at me like a rock'em sock'em. But I'm glad they're back. I'm upset that Swerve's not with them. It's like, but
he wasn't a part of the show anyway. He wasn't a part of the group to begin with. It was AJ's group.
I think that's what AJ said in an interview.
I
didn't know that.
Look at DX when Shawn left, and it was Triple H's. That's the DX that most people associate with.
Fair.
So I'm looking at it as the DX with X-Pac. It's just basically we're going to see what these two guys and gal can do. And the thing is, they did nothing when they were on SmackDown before, so they don't have a very big bar to get over.
Yeah.
They have bars to give.
They do. Or to your mother.
Just not 4 of them.
4 bars. There's only 3 bars.
If they're guests appearing on a future.
I'm happy for them, but I'm not happy for my arms.
Yeah, other than my hat. The only thing I wish that would have happened, I wish they would have had a real match, not the guys.
The jobber match, yeah.
I think McAfee said they got there because they want to scratch off. Which is hilarious. That is a great line.
That is a great line.
But I wish it would have been real. And I don't know. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, they're not going to go against the Usos yet.
No.
There's the New Day. There's the Viking Raiders. There's Maximum Male Models. I mean, the Umberto and the other guy, Garza, who's now Angel Garza. He got his name back. Cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen with Hit Row. I just wish it would have been against a real team, not the scratch off winners.
Yeah. I thought it was fun. I had forgotten too that in their brief time on SmackDown that BFAB had gotten released. And so there was like 2 weeks where it was like just the 3 of the guys. So it's like, oh my God, I forgot all about that. Kev, your Hit Row expectations, all that fun.
Mike's expectations, like when they were on SmackDown, like they were kind of the after, like behind Swerve, I thought was the forefront, right? So without him, I feel like sky's the limit. I wouldn't compare him to a DX scenario.
Oh, not that big, but
I know I'm just teasing you. But I think the jobber is there to protect them and to protect the other teams, because who knows how much they've trained since they've been gone.
They've been working the whole time. Time. Yep.
Okay. But you throw them in against a male Maximum Models. They had that hilarious promo at SummerSlam, right? In every single one of those teams, you can't bury them. So I think jobbers right now, I think, are key. I think especially with BFAB, like she was very green when she was in NXT.
Yeah.
But NXT. She has a look. She's so tall. Women are not like overloaded with talent on SmackDown. So if there's
they
one
need
that
women on SmackDown.
I could hope that could excel out of that group is BFAB. The guys are going to be great, honestly. The guys are going to be awesome.
You know who could be returning to SmackDown? If you're listening to this on Friday, she's on the Broken Skull sessions with Steve Austin. The Queen could be returning.
Yeah,
Charlotte Flair. So pretty excited for that. So excited for that.
All right, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on the Hit Row progression, and we'll see if Triple H brings somebody else back later tonight.
You're so white. It's Hit Row. Me? It's not the Hit Row. It's Hit Row. Not
Drop
the Hit Row.
Drop the.
Okay.
You're so white, Brian.
Thanks, Sean.
Oh, you know what's funny? Yeah, you say that. So
Thanks,
listen,
Kevin. You got the reference.
You guys know, and to listeners, maybe you saw on our social media, I attended the Metallica show at PNC Park, along with Triple H and Stephanie.
Very cool.
There. I had a funny, moment with my wife as I posted earlier on Facebook a picture of me and my friends in the parking lot tailgating, and as part of my outfit, I was wearing just these cotton gym shorts, very, very casual, very comfortable, not bad at all. And I'm wearing my Saucony shoes, and she texted me like, "Are you wearing your gym shorts to the Metallica show?" And I'm like, maybe. And then she commented like, "All you guys got like your Saucony, like you're such like a lame dad." And I'm like, I am. Yeah, you're right. That's what am I supposed to be? That's who I am. So,
well, don't feel bad, Brian, about the Saucony, because I was driving yesterday, my wife and I.
Love my Saucony.
And there was a motorcycle guy riding in front of us, and he had like the leather vest over the denim jacket, but he had khakis and Sauconys on.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, who rides a motorcycle with Sauconys? And my wife was like, who knows what Sauconys are? I'm like, they're shoes.
I'm a fan.
I know what they are. Now, Brian,
you would know.
You got the logo with little circles cut out.
The swoosh with the circles. So.
Great running shoes for me.
How was Metallica?
Metallica was great, man. The only downside to it was
Saint Anger.
they did throw out the like, who likes Saint Anger? But that talk about that, Joe, when the three of us were driving home from SummerSlam in Nashville, Sirius XM played their Lollapalooza set, which was that same weekend. And when I look back at the set list, I think the next day, every single song we heard on the way home from Nashville was played at the Pittsburgh show, except for one. So I guess when you're the biggest heavy metal band in the world, you can do that. You can get away with it.
But they normally don't do that, though. They've got
They usually change it up at least,
at least
3 to 4. Yeah.
If they have a new record out. But that's right. When you texted that, I was kind of surprised. I'm like,
yeah.
Did you buy one of the Pittsburgh exclusive Metallica shirts?
No.
Let me down.
And they look good too. They had the.
Were they 50? How much were they?
You know what? I don't know. I just had the bootleg guys in the parking lot throwing them at me.
You got a boot? Did you buy a bootleg?
No, I didn't buy nothing.
Oh, Brian.
I got a shirt that said Metallica.
Yeah.
No, I know. And it did all look good, man. But I'm so cheap. And the fucking Kugels were like the 24-ounce cans, but they were $19. And I'm like, oh my God. So, priorities are priorities.
Kugels. The beer of no metalhead ever.
Oh, I know, right? But you got to do what you got to do, man. But no, it was fun. They fucking rocked it as always. Just I would have hoped for a little more variety, but I had great time was had by all. So much good wrestling this week as far as actual in-ring stuff. I am, we're really early in the Triple H era, but I think we all agree that AEW in-ring stuff is usually pretty consistently really good. Yeah. And now this Triple H stuff is getting there as well. So, boy, it's something to keep an eye on moving forward. But the ones I noted, Gunther Nakamura, Kevin Owens and Drew, Bobby Lashley and AJ, Dolph and Theory, Daniel Garcia, Bryan Danielson, and Omega and the Bucks versus Andrade, Dragon Lee, and Roosh. Guys, you want to throw out a couple of highlights of any of those or another match that you really enjoyed, what you loved about them, and maybe there's something that you took exception to with any of those matches.
I have a question involving. Let's go to Drew and KO. Yeah. If it wasn't for their back and forth promo, which was by far better than Punk versus Moxley, would we been invested in that match if it was just a regular, Drew versus KO, no build whatsoever?
Absolutely not.
They told a story. Both guys had to win, and they killed it. The ending was terrible, but basically Uso Ference is still a thing. But if they told a story, and that's what we were looking for. So when it came to best story, KO and Drew, I want to see that for the next couple weeks.
That's the promo of Drew McIntyre's career.
KO
set the table.
My back from carrying 20 guys.
Oh, that was fantastic. And
I didn't call them, they called me.
Yeah. Oh God, that's a good line. That's a great line.
I was the chosen one, and I got fired for it. Drew was. You guys are talking about Punk was straight spitting fire. Punk was playing the hits, like Metallica. It was just playing the hits. Drew,
shit.
Here
comes Enter Sandman.
Drew let out his Saint Anger about being fired as the chosen one.
Oh,
and then he said, "Don't tread on me." And when the bell tolled, when WWE made the call, he answered. He was no longer the Invisible Kid.
Oh, there's a
those comments, sad but true.
Hey, no matter what you say, we go back to 3MB, the memory remains of how low he was.
But is the chosen one character unforgiven?
Well,
You
I
mean the
think
chosen-
1, 2, or 3.
yeah. I think so because he listed all of the people he's beat. He beat Brock Lesnar. He beat Randy Orton. He beat Lashley. He's truly the master of puppets.
I mean, when Drew was given the chosen one gimmick, he definitely chose the short straw.
Wow.
And
Almost got it out. Almost.
Yeah,
But I
it's like
love it.
They called him and they said, "Welcome home, sanitarium."
Damn.
And you know what?
Damn.
In that promo, he saw KO and he knew he had to seek and destroy.
Yeah.
And then to get to Cardiff, he's not riding in an airplane. He's riding the Lightning to Cardiff.
Yeah. I mean, wherever he may roam. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
when you
Whether it's
ride
Cardiff,
Lightning,
it could be in Detroit on SmackDown next week.
And when
Yeah,
you
As
ride-
long as they
when
don't
you
run
ride
out
the-
of fuel.
true.
technically, I'm
Better
just
be
going to say it.
fueled up.
I started talking and I stopped, and I was going to say fuel, but everyone started talking.
That's good.
I have nothing.
Nothing else matters, Kevin.
Yeah, all right.
Better.
That's the bow. That's the bow on it.
Yeah. All right, we're done.
All
with
right.
that.
Any other actual, as we try to bring it back to the focus here, highlights of the actual matches. Kev, you can, since we cut you off there, I guess, at the end.
Well, since we're turning the page, it's okay.
Oh, there it is.
One more.
Here too. All right.
No, I thought KO and Drew was absolutely amazing, and I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking of a Metallica song when you asked that question. I have no idea what you asked.
Just what did you what did you take? Because there was so much actually good in-ring
Yeah.
wrestling.
I
What was like a highlight for you? Anything like that? Yeah.
I know we're gonna get into the 5 count, so I don't really want to go into the trios match too much, but holy shit. I'll stop what I was about to say. So I'll use the the Daniel Garcia Bryan Danielson match. You knew when there's a best 2 out of 3, you're hoping it's a 1-1, right? Those guys,
More than likely.
holy crap. And the best part about that is, like Joe said, kind of goes against a little bit of what he says, but it kind of went with the KO Drew, right? Telling a story, but that match told the story because it led into next week of like, boom, backstage,
Yes, that's true.
backstage segment. Boom. I'm going to talk to you, Daniel Garcia. I'm going to talk to you in the middle of the ring. Talk to you. Who are you going to be? Bringing Superfly Snuka. Sorry.
What?
You can
What,
oh wait, no.
Bring in-
Well, rest
bring
in
in
peace,
Ricky.
Jimmy. Never mind.
And it was just,
Yeah.
it was the match incredible. The ending, great. Jericho, the backstage segment, it was fantastic. Like I loved that match in a week of amazing matches. Because even on your rundown, like I didn't even expect that to even be as good as it was. But of course,
Is that your pick as the match?
of my
Like the
favorite
best
match of the week.
Yeah.
Oh
You're
yeah, that was
thinking,
that. Outside of the trios, because the trios match is unique because it's kind of a round robin free for all type match. And I know Brian, I loved your Twitter. You're like, hey, Twitter,
Twitter
universe,
world.
what are the
whatever it
rules
says.
for the trios match? Because I got lost so many times. I'm like, is it just anyone can fight at any time? But I loved the Garcia Daniel because I
Would
wasn't
love an
expect-
actual explanation of that.
I
Yeah.
knew it
I
was
think
going to
ref's
be good. I
discretion is
didn't
the
think
eye
it
of
was
the
going to be as
beholder.
great.
It was a lot of discretion then. Yeah.
The eye of the
Lot
beholder.
discretion. Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you
yes.
looking up
Okay.
Metallica songs?
Yeah. Going back to
I just have
Go
one
back.
question about like that match, Kevin. Steamboat. What was the final time? You made a big deal about being the guest timekeeper. Tell us how long that match lasted.
Oh, do you know? Did you write it down?
No, I did not, because I have no idea. That was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's job, not
Ricky,
mine.
you had one job.
You had
but
one job. Like Powerhouse Hobbs had one job, and he screwed that up, but he's blaming everyone else.
He did do the palm strike onto one of the 2.0 guys. Sorry, I don't remember all their names.
Oh, the one guy is too much. The one who's like the sports entertainer. Like, it's just-
yeah. He's got.
Oh, it's
All
so
right, so who's
annoying.
next? What was the
No.
match of the week? Brian or Jason?
I'm sorry.
You know what?
Joe?
I'm going with Gunther and Nakamura. That Intercontinental title match from SmackDown because they ran that Intercontinental title promo at the beginning of the show. These video packages that
Love
hype
those.
up the mid-card titles, they are amazing. They are
I don't even consider them
absolutely
secondary
amazing.
titles anymore. They are
You
titles.
fight fire with fire.
But the videos, Triple H is the hero of the day because making these videos are putting the.
Listen, if somebody can work in Low Man's lyric in this show, I'm walking off. All right, okay. Let's try to keep it focused here. No, so I love KO and Drew. I loved all these matches, but the one thing I just to touch on because we kind of hit up a lot of them already. It was Kenny Omega. That was a surprise. I mean, we all figured it was happening. What do you think, guys, about this? This seems to be for his character of being the. I do have ring rust. You know, he was kind of looking sloppy and he's got a shirt on and a arm brace. And I think that's a pretty cool way to do it because usually it's guy comes off the shelf and he's better than ever and all this stuff. But this seems a little more realistic that like, wow, I haven't had a match in 9 months and I do have ring rust. I thought that's kind of a different little angle.
I loved it.
Was the brace on the shoulder part of the shirt, or was that a separate brace?
I think separate.
I think it was
okay.
separate.
It was. They said it was a compression shirt, you know, to help things.
I don't know. I mean,
so I presume it's part of the story. I don't think it's a, fully legit. I'm not in good shape right now. I'm wearing a shirt.
It's not like they were chanting, "You still got it." It was probably like, you may need another week.
Yeah.
Now, if
it's interesting.
Too.
I thought that was interesting.
If he wears the shirt again next time, they'll show there's no remorse in him wearing shirts to wrestle in matches.
Yeah. All right. Did anybody? I got to watch NXT Heatwave. Jay, I think as last time you said did not. Kev, Joe.
No? On and off.
All right.
I didn't know who the guy Braun wrestled. But I liked the way he took an extreme ass beating, and he got up the one time and he had the really bloody mouth, and then
at the end
he got Braun to end move. The street fight I thought was really good.
On Peacock, when does it show up on Peacock? Is it like 2 days later?
Yeah, I haven't tried it in a while.
I haven't tried it either
because my DVR faded to black and it didn't tape NXT. So I didn't get to watch it. Then I checked Hulu the next day, it wasn't there. Checked Peacock the next day, it wasn't there. So I want to watch this because all of these matches look like they were like insane. Yeah,
top to bottom, it was very good. Very good. And I'm with you, Kev. That street fight was probably the highlight. That's Santos Escobar who ended up losing. And the stipulation was if you lose, you leave NXT. So presumably he'll be main roster bound here pretty soon. He's really talented.
Which show? I'm saying SmackDown.
Oh, SmackDown. But Joe or Jay, it's not a song, but when you do get it on Peacock, you better load and reload to make sure that you can watch it for real.
Your DVR at the very least, make sure it's going for recording there. All right, so I think nowhere else to go but 5 count because.
To live is to die, Brian. Let's go.
And justice for all.
Let's hear the one in your 5 count.
That Wrestling Podcast presents the 5 count.
This week's 5 count. Top 5 Metallica songs. Who wants to go first?
Number 5, Enter Sandman.
Yeah. We've named about 30 of them already, each of us. This one came about. I was hurting for topics, but Kevin, near the end, or maybe when the show was over for Dynamite, texted me about like, holy shit, that Dragon Lee. I was literally taking a holy shit when the part that I think he's talking about came on because I was like, I think I missed it. And I saw the clip of him jumping, through the rope and into the crowd on Omega. So I totally get it now that
I think Kevin should go first.
Exactly. I'll go first.
Hold on. So let me, I didn't get to fully explain it. So I never seen Dragon Lee. Presumably, Kevin, you hadn't seen Dragon Lee. So what this is 5 count is our 5 first impression wrestlers, 5 wrestlers or tag teams, whatever. The very first time you saw them, you were immediately impressed, like Kevin was with Dragon Lee. So Kev, go ahead.
Yeah, number 5, I put him on there. Dragon Lee. I was like, who's this guy? Like I was like, who's the guy wearing, the tights and little, and okay, he's wearing a mask. Sweet. That they're going to lose. I actually didn't expect the match to be anywhere as good as it was. I thought it was going to be good, but given the time, I was like, okay, we're going to get just about 30 minutes. This is going to be nice, but it was so good. Dragon Lee, all-star of that match. Like I thought at the end, where Kenny leaned over, I don't know if he was checking if he was okay. Like when they were just whispering a little bit, and then you see him just like go like that and then go off. I have no idea if he's going to get a deal. I don't know if he's signed somewhere else.
He got unmasked with like 5 seconds left in the program.
Yeah.
It was like his mask is off and they went off the air.
He was a Ring of Honor guy. Obviously, Luchador, probably something with AAA or CMLL. That's a normal Dragon Lee match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like insane. Number 4.
Right.
I'm trying to remember the exact time I saw this next person. And I flirted with the idea of Yoko just because he was so big and just being able to move. But I chose Bam Bam, and I'm gonna keep thinking when was the very first time, because it was just the agile big guy. And
you need to hurry up because Brian has to go unwrap his meat. So.
Number 3. Excuse me. Paige in NXT. I was impressed with her more with the promos backstage, and then seeing her in ring. It was just fantastic stuff. Number 2, I won't even go into that many details. Kurt Angle, one of my top of all time. Just his first match with Sean Stasiak, you knew it was going to be great.
Speaking of meat,
Survivor Series 99.
Exactly. And number 1, not the best match, but it left me being like, whoa, who's this guy? Is Goldberg. First match, I just thought I was just impressed how he absolutely destroyed Hugh Morris, and it made you want more, because you really didn't see much except for like the two power moves and a little bit more than that. But that was my 5 count.
Good.
You should listen. Goldberg was on Jericho's podcast last week. It was a great listen. An absolute great. Is
that when he said he stopped saying he's
done saying sorry? Done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jay.
Number 5. I remember this to this day, and I was probably, I don't know, we'll say 8 years old. We had, how like in some sectionals, there's like that centerpiece that, it's like rounded in the back, but it's it connects the 2 straight bars. We had one of those, but we didn't have a sectional. We just had the centerpiece, and it was blue. And I remember sitting on this one day, and I'm watching wrestling, and they played a promo for a guy that was debuting next week. And I was hooked just by the promo alone. That man, go ahead, Kevin, who do you think it is?
Razor Ramon.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
I was 8 years old. It wouldn't have been Razor. We were teenagers when he came out. I was thinking Macho Man, yeah.
I just remember sitting on that blue couch, or that part of the blue couch, and I was just fascinated by it. I don't know if it was the sequin robes or whatever, but Macho Man's number 5. Number 4 is someone you guys probably don't know. His name's AC Romero.
The name. Yeah.
He was on Impact for a while. I know him from
Big
Indies.
dude. Big
yes.
Dude. Yes.
Very
I have
big
seen
dude.
him. Yeah.
So I saw him at an indie show here in California, PCW Ultra. And this guy, I mean, look, I'm a big dude. He's bigger than I am. And he was doing like top rope things, jumping over to the outside, blown away. And this venue had a bar, and I saw him at the bar, and I'm like, bro, I have not seen anything like you ever. It was awesome to watch you work. So I don't know what he's doing now, but he was on Impact for a while. Number 3, Nikita Lyons.
Oh my!
I was surprised because of just the way she looked, her skills, and her gear. Now, we had some jokes with this
gear
many weeks ago, but I just found out, Brian, you were a fan of Flavor of Love, and then the spinoff show I Love New York. Well, there was a spinoff show of I Love New York, which Nikita Lyons was on with the 2 black dudes that wanted to date I Love New York.
Oh my God, I remember that show.
I remember that.
Like the
their names like Show and Biz or something.
Oh my God, I got to look that up.
So she was on that show.
Wow.
Wasn't
she?
David Otunga also on I Love New York?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like the I
Yeah.
Love shows definitely have a.
Oh my God, Jay, that's
Brian loved
amazing.
it so much. He took me to Flavor Flav's Chicken Shop in Detroit,
Yeah.
which I'm guessing is no longer there.
Oh, no.
Quick story. First celebrity I ever met at the airport, Flavor Flav. Cool as hell.
That's awesome.
Ooh. Yeah, boy.
Number 3.
Number 2, Black Taurus. He's an
Oh,
Impact
you just
guy.
saw him.
I just saw him live for the first time at Ric Flair's last match. A big dude, luchador. He's got like a giant like bull head as his mask. Unbelievable. He is on Impact right now, and definitely go check that out. And in 2002, I went to an indie show in Pittsburgh. Now, Brian, you and I had just met, and we were working at the overnights at the radio station, and you told me about a website called 411 Wrestling.
Yep, that's my site.
And I was, at night, doing the overnights, it was like, oh, let's look on the internet, and something that wouldn't get us in trouble. So I thought wrestling would be fine. And there was all these stories about a guy who was having these just unbelievable matches, but the internet was early. There was no YouTube, nothing like that. And finally, I got to see this man at an indie show with very low ceilings. And that's very important to the story, because when I tell you who it is, you'll be surprised that he was able to work in a building with low ceilings. It was Chris Sabin against AJ Styles.
Oh,
Unbelievable to see this guy live. And I have a picture somewhere. Very young AJ Styles, very young me with bad, like almost like a little bit of like a pencil mustache because my shit wouldn't grow. But AJ Styles
It was like a post-show meet and greet with AJ.
Yeah.
Oh, how
so
cool. Love to
so
find that picture.
AJ Styles is my one.
Oh, that's great. Joe, you want to go last?
phenomenally done.
I'll go next.
Okay.
Number 5. So I'm going based on the criteria of first time I saw them. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
number 5, never saw him before, but told the story. Eddie Kingston versus Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship. It's like I'm like, they got to sign him. Just from that episode alone, he had to be signed. Number 4. While the guy feels like it was a failure, I was instantly hooked on this performer. I just have 2 words: ruthless aggression. Slap.
That's a good one. Yeah.
John Cena. John Cena's
Great one.
debut, while he says was a failure, and the way you think about it, he's right, because he didn't capitalize on it. But he definitely came on my radar with that match against Kurt Angle. He was going against the best.
I remember watching it that night, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So number 3, in Brian Christie's basement, NXT TakeOver Dallas. Yeah. Never watched New Japan. I really still don't. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Nakamura's that was my first time seeing Nakamura wrestle, and I'm like, all right, definitely into this. Number 2, Kevin, you're number 2, but I was actually there. Kurt Angle. And the funny thing is, that was my like basically bathroom break match. I went to the concession stand, and all I heard were the boos, and I could hear Angle on the mic going, "You don't boo an Olympic gold medalist. I'm a hero." I was like, wow, I wasn't even watching, but I could feel how awesome that was. So I waited about 2 months to rent it from Family Video so I could rewatch Survivor Series way before the network. And I watched the match, and the match wasn't anything special, but Angle was. Yeah. So when the whole crowd at Joe Louis Arena got into it and just basically were just booing this guy, and he went into us. And me, I wasn't into it at all, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go check out merch and go get a drink. But yeah, Kurt Angle number 2 definitely made an impression. And number 1, Maven, Al Snow, and especially Spike Dudley may disagree with me.
Yeah, I got you.
Number 1 is Brock Lesnar.
100%.
His first appearance on Raw after WrestleMania, when he destroyed those 3 in the hardcore match. I was like, yep. And then Heyman.
Can you elaborate on that? I don't know those references to Maven, Al Snow, or Spike Dudley.
First time Brock Lesnar was on WWF TV, Raw after WrestleMania. Was it WrestleMania?
Didn't he beat the shit out of the Hardys?
That was like
that was later.
Week.
The
next
first
week.
match, it was
the
a
first one was-
It was a hardcore
with
match.
Maven,
Yep.
Al Snow.
Gotcha.
Spike Dudley took the worst of it because
Oh,
that's
God.
what Spike does.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But there was no F5 involved. It was like power bombs.
Power
and
bombs.
just like, and he
Cool.
he cleared out
Cool.
the ring. And Heyman comes in with his ponytail and
Thanks,
Yankees
Beavis.
cap. Just basically destroyed everything. So yeah,
That's more of a butt
Jason, go
headliner,
back and
so
cool.
check it
That
out.
was
That was
cool.
Lesnar's first time on
Yeah.
WWF.
Gotcha.
Heh.
Cool.
So-
Damn it, Stuart.
all right.
And what shirt does
I was gonna
Beavis
say.
wear?
Yeah, that's
watch
right.
some
That's
Metallica.
right. Throw him up.
Metallica.
And
Oh, no, I
Stuart
thought he
wears
was
the
wearing
winger shirt.
Yeah,
Winger.
Where's the winger?
Stuart.
Do
Okay.
it.
All right. Joe, great minds think alike on a couple of ours, man. But my
All right.
number 5, no, it's perfect. Number 5 is, I'm going to say it's Big Van Vader, because that's who he was in WCW. When I first saw Big Van Vader, and he come out with that big ass mask with like
Mastodon.
the mastodon, and smoke would come out of it. And he was this big dude doing like off the top rope moonsaults and shit. Love Big Van Vader, man. I was so glad to see like a little bit later on when he actually had like the championship and feuds. Number 4, Ricochet. And his was based off of an internet clip. There was that one clip of him and Will Ospreay doing this like 1 minute back and forth. And it was just like, what the fuck is this with wrestling? So you take that. And then when he made his NXT debut, I was like, my God, this guy is absolutely insane. My number 3, the same as yours, Joe, Nakamura, for all the reasons you said, that the entrance, the look, the appearance, heard the buzz about how this guy was in New Japan, and he absolutely delivered. Sticking with Japan, number 2. What do you guys think about Jushin Thunder Liger? I love Jushin Thunder Liger, man. Back in the WCW days, he looked like a fucking Power Ranger, and he would do all these aerial shit that nobody could do back then. He was a fucking innovator. I love that guy. The first time I saw him, I was like, this guy's the fucking best. He's the greatest. And my number 1 is also Brock Lesnar for all the reasons you said, Joe. You at that point, you are on the internet. And you're, like hearing about, oh, this guy in OVW and he's an NCAA champion. And when he came out with Paul Heyman and did the destruction he did, that's when you knew, like, holy shit, this dude's a big deal. And he absolutely proved it. That is this week's 5 count.
Who made your 5 count? Let us know on social media using the hashtag TWP5count.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's show. Well, actually, not quite yet. We got to do this week's viral clip of the week. We did Macho Man talking about...
This is a thing?
This is the thing, yeah. Well, it may not be every week, but if I can find one every week, then we're going to do it every week. Last week, we had no. We had last week Macho Man talking about cry, going, yeah, Macho Man's cry. This one isn't so much. The video is one thing. It's a very quick video, but it's more about whoever did the Twitter caption on it, which I just saw. I saw the caption. Do you know what it is?
Is this going to be a trademark
No, I'm
violation?
excited.
No, it's
Copyright
not.
violation?
Not at all. Not at all. Just
You're
look
gonna
at
have to go to YouTube school.
Look at the caption.
Oh,
I know who Howdy Price is. He's a local guy out here. Yeah.
Labarca guy.
For those not watching,
Yeah, for
we
those
have a
not
dog
watching.
dressed as a skeletal, and it's called Labarca.
We don't need to see it.
Well,
we don't need to play
it is what it is.
Where's
It's
the
7-second
chair?
video.
Where's the
Yeah.
chair?
I need to find
Labarca?
one of those for my dog now,
So-
so that my
Yeah.
dog can be Labarca too.
There you go.
Brian, update your computer. That's bothering me.
That is an amazing haircut, and then dye.
Yeah. So like you said, this Howdy Price, or at least know of him, Jay. So
Yeah, I do know of him.
please
Yeah.
give him a
Well,
shout
they're
out
not
from us at That Wrestling Podcast.
He was
for the
on.
Labarca
He was on the
shirt.
Really Big Show. That talent show. That was
Oh,
on
yeah,
there
the
Yeah.
Cody show. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he was on there for I think this last season. I think he won or definitely come close. Last week I talked about our What a Maneuver store.
Yes,
The shirt
please.
is up. The tweet shirt is up.
Oh
It's a
my
picture
God.
of us in front of a dinosaur, and the tweet says there is a dinosaur in Uranus.
Yeah.
Multiple colors for your choosing. And like I said, I don't care if I'm the only one that buys it. It is for me, but I just think it's hilarious that I had to put it on a shirt. That's it. It's
It's good. It's quality.
It is, comedy is in the eye of the beholder. And for me, that is the one from our trip to Nashville and Uranus that I had to have on the shirt. So.
Jay, you want to give out the final plugs? I'm just over the moon with La Barca, and I don't feel like I can.
So our YouTube channel is at That Wrestling Podcast. We're looking for more subscribers. We're doing well.
Thanks.
Thank you for everyone that's checking in,
Yep.
commenting. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe, leave a comment, ring that notification bell so you get the notification when we put new videos up. thatwrestlepod at gmail.com is the address. You can reach out directly, or at That WrestlePod on social media. DMs are open. And, maybe I can find a costume like that for my dog so she can become La Barca too. Because there are many La Barcas.
There are. Yes. Yeah.
So, that's about everything.
All right.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. Hey, enjoy wrestling, everybody. We're off to Never Never Land. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening. Follow That WrestlePod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
1, 2, 3, that's it!